Hello and welcome. This is our 6th parenting class, and this is coming to you from a collaboration with Blue Ridge Schools and Nexus Coalition. And we've been covering a lot of topics from the book The Whole Brain Child by Daniel Siegel, the book The Teenage Brain by Frances Jensen, and also from Daniel Siegel, the workbook The Whole Brain Child. Today I'm not going to review all of the topics that we've covered. What I want to do is jump into this PowerPoint presentation that we put together for our parents and our community. This grant that we're working with is for Navajo County, and I am a licensed therapist and also work at the school as a school counselor. And sometimes we get parents to come to campus and we talk about things that are going on here at school. But it's tricky to get parents to attend a meeting where we talk about some of our big concerns. And so I put together this little PowerPoint to really highlight some of the concerns that we're seeing with young people, to talk about some of the risks, some of the resources, and then some effective communication strategies. So I want to start. This is a pretty brief presentation. It's 12 slides. This first slide is effective communication strategies. And so the first one I have on there is for families to try to sit together as a family for dinner without any electronics at least one time per week. This is great. Some families are doing this every night. Some young people really don't have it in their memory anytime that their family sits down together to eat. This is a great time to catch up on the day, talk about what's going on the next day, enjoy some good food. I highly recommend putting this goal into play. Sitting together for family dinner without electronics at least one time per week. The next strategy is for adults to model putting their screens away. Sometimes we want to tell our kids to put their screens up, but as adults, we are often the worst culprits of this. A lot of young people tell me they don't feel like they have their parents' attention, and when we start talking about it, they'll say because they feel like their parents are on their phones all the time. And I've caught myself being guilty of this too. So putting our screens away. Using car time to check in. What a great time to just see how everyone's doing. You're not face to face, so there's not that intensity of the stare down. It can traveling and talking in the car can really be a great place to just share some of the things going on, some concerns, some things on your mind, maybe topics going on in the news, to have a little check-in. As adults, the more we can listen, the better. And a lot of times we want to fill in that empty space with words. It's okay to have some silence and to really be reflective on the things that young people are telling us. One of our previous classes, we really focused on the importance of emotionally connecting before we redirect. And that really engages both sides of the brain. And we know that when we can involve the whole brain processes in our parenting, we're going to have best results. Not necessarily will it change the outcomes immediately. In fact, sometimes the outcomes might still really be not so great. But we're going to feel good about how we represented ourselves, and ultimately who we have charge over changing is us. So that's the goal we want to set. And then for effective communication, we need to remember that how we react or respond may impact our child's willingness to discuss anything further with us down the road. If we're very explosive or we're very judgmental or critical, this could be not even about something going on with our own kids. It could be about something going on in the news or a topic about marginalized groups, and we come in strong with our heavy opinions about that topic. The young people in our home, they're gathering and collecting information based on what we share, and that's going to help them determine if they feel comfortable sharing things with us down the road. So we want to create a safe space where they're more likely to share with us. The next thing I want to do is define some examples of possible trauma. And the reason I say possible is some people can experience the same thing and have a trauma response, and other people may not. There's a lot of factors that contribute to that. And I'm not going to go into what all those factors are, but here are some things that could possibly cause trauma. We have death, divorce, neglect, abuse, natural disaster, serious accidents, severe illness, bullying. And then I gave an example of a societal trauma that we all can relate to right now, and that would be COVID and quarantine and the world as we know it changing. So these are some examples of possible trauma. You might see a lot of posts about people who are expressing the trauma they've experienced and how their previous trauma is impacting their ability to have healthy relationships now. And so it's important for us to understand that not everybody has a traumatic response to the same thing, but that trauma is a very important thing to understand and to be aware of. When we start interacting with people, understanding that trauma is very real and has impacted a lot of people, then instead of saying what's wrong with you, we start to consider what's happened to this person that seems to be impacting their wellness right now. And now some examples of why we may experience grief. Again, the death of a loved one, divorce or separation, diagnosis of a terminal illness, either for themselves or someone in their family, giving up something that mattered, the loss of good health because of an illness, accident, or disability, the loss of a beloved pet, having to move. Of course, there's other things that could be examples of that, but these could possibly cause some grief. And as far as societal grief, we can experience losses, the uncertainty, and the fear after COVID or after a national disaster, 9/11, things like that can cause societal grief that we're all experiencing or that many of us are experiencing together. Trauma and unsupported grief increase the susceptibility to online predators. So you might be thinking, where is she going with this? And yeah, I'm just going to connect these dots. I wanted to give you some definitions of what trauma may look like, what unsupported grief may look like, and then I want to immediately connect those dots to some of the dangerous behaviors that have us concerned for young people. So trauma and unsupported grief increase the susceptibility to online predators, and they increase the susceptibility to risky behaviors. They increase the susceptibility to drug and alcohol use. So since we know that as a society, and so many of us individually have had some serious trauma, some grief, maybe unsupported grief, then our awareness needs to be heightened that the young people we support are at a higher risk for these types of things: online predators, risky behaviors, drug and alcohol use. The good news is talking to those that we have influence over does make a difference, a positive influence. Talking about the dangers of online predators reduces the risk. Talking about the dangers of substance use reduces the risk. So having these conversations is going to help us reduce the risk for the young people that we support. So how do we talk to teens about online predators? There's a full article. You'll see it in red at the bottom of my screen. If you search how to talk to teens about dealing with online predators from Common Sense Media, it's going to give you the full conversation. I've just taken a little snip of it. So a good startup question could be, you would be asking your teen, and maybe you're having this conversation while you're riding in the car, nice, unthreatening experience, and you might say, I've heard a lot about online predators. What would you do if someone you don't know contacts you online? And then kind of hear what they say. They might tell you they wouldn't respond to them at all. You might go and say, well, what if they keep reaching out to you? They might share that they would tell that person they don't want to talk to them and not to contact them again. They might share that they would block them and report their user information and that they wouldn't respond to them anymore. But another great follow-up question in this conversation is to ask, what if you thought it was somebody you knew? What if they used a username that reminded you of a classmate from school? Maybe somebody you even have a crush on, or just like as a friend. And so you start thinking you know who you're talking to, and they seem to know things about you. This is even more alarming and truly the epidemic that young people are dealing with. This kind of this attack on them personally, where they are able to get bits and pieces of information from them, enough so that they can then start to create conversations where this young person feels like, this isn't even a stranger, this is someone from our community, probably someone from my school. And then we can find out later that they aren't someone from their school, and that they are making this connection to try to take advantage of them. So again, go to How to Talk to Teens About Dealing with Online Predators from Common Sense Media to get further along in this conversation. You can also look at the FBI's new regulations and their investigations on online predators to get some great information on this very concerning topic. When we're talking to teens about substance use, we want to begin the conversation by affirming our positive regard for them. Maybe they've heard us express anger and fear about substance use or experimentation, and we can kind of share why we're coming at it with that fear or anger. Not to stay in that energy, but just to explain that maybe we've experienced loss or damage in relationships because of substance use. We want to do our best to have a time and a place where we can speak and listen in a calm, matter-of-fact way without judgment. And then we can share some really truthful information that people who are living with substance use disorders may find it increasingly difficult to manage regular daily living without engaging in that substance use. That substance use may become their baseline. It's important for your teen to know that those with substance use disorder may develop a physical dependency on substances like drugs and alcohol. This might cause an increase in substance use over time, which can be dangerous and possibly lead to overdose or death in some cases. Like, let's just be real and honest about some of these concerns. And again, another article that can help you continue that conversation is on Psych Central, and it's called How to Talk to Teens About Drugs and Substance Use. There are so many great hotlines and resources. Emergencies and overdose, we're dialing 911. Lifeline, we can call, text, or visit their website. The number is 3 digits, 988. Arizona has a statewide mental wellness crisis line. It's 844-534-4673. And then the domestic violence hotline is thehotline.org. I will post all of these slides in sequence so that you can have, it'll be easier for you to have this information. In our community, there are free parenting classes, mental wellness supports, and drug prevention offered by Nexus Coalition. You can go to nexuscoalition.org and see what they've got coming up. The ReCenter has great resources listed as well. That's rcaz.us. And then we have the NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness of the White Mountains. It's NAMIWMAZ.org. And I'm not going to go through the other websites because I'm just going to post these slides so you can look through these and have this information. Same with this next page. We've got ChangePoint, Apache Behavioral Help, BetterHelp, Virtual Counseling, Terry's Help, Charlie Help. We have our local counselors. Your family doctor is always an option as a good starting point because we want to determine if there's anything medically accompanying what's going on. So it's a great resource. And same with your family church. Sometimes you can find really great support there. These resources are clearly not a comprehensive list. I have not fully vetted every single possible way these could work out for you. For the most part, I've heard great things from people who are utilizing these supports, and this information is provided for you as a tool in determining a best fit for your family needs. I want to just go back to the very beginning. We talked now about how we can talk about trauma, we can talk about grief, we can talk about the risks of online predators, risky behavior, substance use and abuse. And we began by saying effective communication strategies are important. So let's just finish right there again. All of these topics are things that could be talked about when you're having family dinner without electronics, sitting around a table at least once per week. Parents can put down their own devices and give some time to their kids. By modeling putting down their screens, that can really be setting a great example. Using our time in the car to check in, more listening, less talking, emotionally connecting with our teens before we're redirecting them, and keeping in mind as best we can, it's easier said than done, but keeping in mind that how we respond or react may impact our child's willingness to discuss things with us down the road. So be aware of the things we're saying about our own circumstances and the circumstances around us so that we can create this safe space where our young people will want to share the things going on. That's it. That's 12 slides. That's my parenting presentation for March. I appreciate parents that are raising their awareness in order to support young people. I recognize we're all doing the best we can with what we know when we know it. And some days our own personal heaviness impacts our ability to parent in the best ways we could. But we're just going to keep on keeping on. If you have further questions or want to find out about classes you can attend, my contact information is on here. Thanks and good luck as we just keep on trying to support young people and offer solutions to all of the challenging things that they have going on right now.